Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast brought to you by us. Me, Jake.
Me, Chairman of General Mills, Chris.
Me, Ames.
Caitlin. Me.
Cool.
I tried to get a brand thing going, but
I don't care.
no one ran with it.
I'm only one coffee in. It's not going to work.
Same, but like I might have tried, but then Ames didn't, so I was just kind of like, all right, well, I guess
Jump on that excuse.
we're not doing it.
Well, anyway, this is episode 382
Woo!
of our podcast,
It's a lot.
during which we will be talking about the penultimate.
Pinochle?
I specifically pronounced it that way to evoke images of
Wieners?
Wieners, yeah.
Oh, I was
in your
thinking
brain.
card game no one knows how
Yes.
to play.
This is the penultimate episode of season 1 of Star Trek The Discovery, the title of which is The War Without, The War Within.
That feels like some Churchill shit, doesn't it?
It kind of does, yeah. It sounds like, this great nation shall not perish from the fort.
The fart? Is that what you just said?
I don't fucking know. Anyway.
Off to a good start here.
We sure are. You'll recall from last week's episode that where we left off, we had just returned to the Prime Universe from the Mirror Universe. We stole Mirror Giorgio.
Our best decision yet.
Best decision. And as we returned, we realized that, holy shit, since we've been gone, it has been like 9 months or something, 6 months, I don't know.
9 months.
Some period of time.
Yeah, they overshot by 9 months.
And the Klingons have basically wiped the floor with the Federation for the last 9 months. Anyway, so that's the previously on.
That's how badly they needed Michael Burnham.
That's how bad. Yeah, without Michael Burnham, all shit fell apart.
Well, it's because they didn't have the cloak thing.
No, I'm pretty sure that this show's MO is Michael Burnham.
Okay, well, we'll find out. Anywho, but pretty much as soon as we get here, another ship shows up, and it's... I don't know, do we get the name?
We don't see it, they don't...
Okay. Well,
They might name it, but they don't show it. This show has no ship porn. It's exhausting.
Another ship shows up, and they arm phasers, and it's a Federation ship, and it's like, what? What is going on? And then they get boarded by this other ship, and included in the boarding party is Sarek and Admiral Cornwell.
Ooh,
and
nice to see her again.
And they're holding everybody at gunpoint, and they're like, who the fuck are you guys? And everyone's freaked out.
This is not a game.
And then Sarek pulls a Spock and does a forced meld on Saru to determine that, okay, yeah, no, this actually is Discovery.
Could have asked.
Yeah.
Nope.
And they've been through a terrible ordeal. They've been to the Mirror Universe, and it sucks. So we find out, yeah, they basically, Cornwell and Sarek explain that, yeah, the war's been going bad. We thought you guys got blowed up because we found the debris, which turns out we did close the loop on the Mirror Discovery, which we hadn't talked about. So, yeah, Captain Killy and the Mirror Discovery got bitched.
Aw, missed opportunity. Damn it.
Ames would have loved to have seen Captain Killy get it.
By the Klingons.
I'd like to see them do anything.
Well, we never saw them, so they're dead now. Yeah, and the war's been going very badly, and Cornwell's like, listen, we need you to use your spore shit to try and get shit going again.
Spore shit.
And Stamets is like, well, actually about that, we killed all the spores, so sorry.
This sounds like a job
And they're
for
like, okay,
a side quest.
And they're like, okay, well, let's just warp to Starbase 1. It's going to be a perilous journey to get to Starbase 1. So they warp to Starbase 1, and lo and behold, it was not a perilous journey.
I was going to say, what? It's a lot of build-up for nothing.
Barely an inconvenience. They get to Starbase 1 and find out, no, it's already been attacked, and the Klingons have tagged it.
Oh,
That's pretty funny.
Little Kilroy was here.
Yeah.
No.
Kilroy with ridges.
Oh, with ridges. That's cute.
And Cornwell's all like, there were 80,000 people on that station. Fuck!
I thought it was 11,000. Oh, no, that was the other place. Never mind. That's right.
So like, well, we got to do something. So Burnham goes to Mirror Giorgio, and is like, listen, biatch, you defeated the Klingons in your universe, I guess. We find that I guess we know that now.
But in an entirely different circumstance and different type of people.
Yeah.
You know.
How did you do that? And she's like, well, and she tells us off screen, but Burnham later reveals what she said. She told her that there's these subterranean tunnels created by volcanoes all over Kronos. So all I did was well, we don't know what she actually did, but somehow she used the tunnels. And the plan for Discovery is to spore into the volcanic tunnels and
Where it will surely fit.
Because Stamets hand waved that.
What can't he do?
And we're going to map the surface, and that will allow the Federation to warp in and do a General Order 24 on Kronos or something. Because the reason why we couldn't do that already is that Kronos is covered by a layer of clouds that we can't see through, and we don't have sensors or something. Anyway, all that stuff was just kind of like info dumped. So we just, yeah. Anyway.
So if firing first on Klingons is a Vulcan hello, is obliterating Kronos the Giorgio hello?
That's the Giorgio goodbye.
It's an Irish goodbye.
Yeah, so we're going to do the Giorgio goodbye on Kronos. And they think they're just going to map the surface, and then when the Klingons are on their heels, they'll retreat and surrender.
Seems like them.
But Sarek goes to Giorgio and is like, "Listen, I don't think this is," or something. Giorgio and Sarek talk.
Giorgio calls him.
Yeah, okay.
She's like, "I left
You've
details."
been summoned, bitch.
Listen. Giorgio says to Sarek, like, "Look, Michael Burnham is a nice gal in my universe or yours, and I couldn't tell her the truth. But here's the thing. You're not going to get them to surrender. You need to fucking wipe them out." And Sarek's like, genocide. I'm picking up what you're putting down, lady.
Vulcans.
So secretly, the plan is going to be a genocide, by the way, as opposed to just, force them into submission.
The Phlox maneuver.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we've done a side quest to go make some new spores.
In 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Barely an inconvenience, because Stamets knows of this planet that you can grow spores on super fast, and they invent a thing, and there's a science, and there's a stupid.
Don't you dare call it a science.
Yeah, it's a
even as a joke.
It's a fantasy.
It's a Discovery's version of science, where Stamets and Tilly have a talk and science, and it magically all works perfectly. So we that whole we don't have any spores thing already solved by the end of the episode. Oh, and we're about to make our triumphant trip to.
Don't say trip too soon.
To Kronos. We're going to go to Kronos, but, Saru, being the pacifist bitch that he is, doesn't have it in him to do what needs to get done. So Cornwell, in her infinite wisdom, decides to doll up Mirror Giorgio to look like regular Giorgio, and tells everybody on the crew that, oh yeah, we found, we rescued her. She wasn't actually killed. She was in prison in Klingons, and we rescued her. So now she's going to be the captain of the ship.
Once again, putting someone who's potentially been through extremely traumatic events, right back into the seat.
Yeah,
so,
you didn't learn anything from the Ash Tyler fucking.
Well, and speaking of the Ash Tyler, I didn't mention it, but also Saru goes to Ash Tyler and is like, "Listen, even though you totally murdered a guy." And could potentially snap again, even though L'Rell tells us that she pulled all the Voke out of you. We're going to just give you free reign of the ship. Here's a little tracking bracelet.
Well, I don't think he's on duty.
He's not on duty, but he's not in fucking prison, which is the point.
His privileges will be limited, okay?
Yes. His privileges to go confront the husband of the guy that he murdered.
Oh, bro.
And have a really awful, awkward thing that the writers were like, we need to do this.
Keep in mind.
No, we don't. God damn it.
This is Star Trek, which has a long history of not locking the shuttle bay. Remember when a literal teenager stole a shuttle in TNG?
Yep.
Their sense of security is borked.
Happened again on Deep Space Nine, too, actually. That when the kid
that's right.
From
this flaky guy.
The flaky guy, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we need is, we've invoked this meme previously, but the Predator meme with the arms.
Oh yeah.
And it's got to be Saru and Cornwell, and it's putting dangerous people in positions where they could destroy things.
Oh, the two the arm wrestlers or whatever.
You son of a bitch scene. Okay, so I am probably the biggest Discovery apologist on this show. what the fuck was this episode? This sucked.
It was set up for the finale.
Yeah, it was just like a rush fucking thing.
Not a plot. It was a series of scenes strung together.
Each individual scene, I actually liked most of them. Like, the dialogue was better than usual.
Yeah, but there was just, like, no real through line. Like, it was an info dump. It was, like, set up, but not a story. What the fuck
here's what it
was
is.
With this... Okay, so... Did Carol Marcus invent the magic spore producer, or did she just do her thesis on it?
Oh god, it was Genesis Planet. Yes,
so
it was.
actually, I was gonna present this exact theory. I'm glad you brought it up. That perhaps Stamets actually was previously working on Genesis because he knew about this barren planet that was, I can imagine, would have been a great target for Genesis.
Yeah.
So maybe he was working on Genesis with Carol Marcus, for all we know, before he got reassigned to Discovery for the war.
That timeline is way off.
Yeah, I think...
Why would that be way off?
Because that's like 20 years in the future.
Yeah, but Genesis would have taken a very long time to produce.
Not in Star Trek. In Star Trek, science advancements happen overnight.
You consider how quickly we were able to regrow our depleted spores.
Yeah, like... I do, like the idea maybe that certainly Carol was part of this, and maybe this is what sparked the idea for Genesis.
See, I don't know. I think it's probably already been in the works. I think that Kirk knew about Genesis before they had David, because he knew about Genesis existing in Wrath of Khan. Yeah. And David's already an adult.
But he's also, an admiral at this point, so he might just be...
Maybe.
Does Kirk know he has a David before he meets him in the second movie?
Yeah, he knows he has a David, but he's never met him.
Yeah, he was told to stay away.
And he said, he even says, I stayed away
why would anybody not want Kirk around
I'm
their
going to
kid?
assume that David has already been born by TOS, for sure, and possibly even at this point during Discovery.
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds, I think, is going to flip this.
Maybe.
Because we do meet Kirk in Strange New Worlds.
But then how is David not 20? Like, he's an adult.
He also went to the Genesis planet.
Yeah,
he got Genesis.
I think when they introduced the character of David, they really didn't think the timeline through super carefully.
Yeah, I see. I had always assumed that David was a child somewhere during TOS that we just never met.
That's the thing. Technically, he should have been.
How much time was there between the original series and the movies? Like 30 years?
Not even. It's like 20 years.
20 years? Okay. Well, then he's aged about right for him to have been maybe like an infant at the time of TOS then.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he's like, what, 20-something when we meet him, maybe?
They never really say.
Well, no, but I mean, he looks, unless they're trying to tell us he's like 17.
No.
Or like, which they could.
He's already a scientist. He's already like...
Right, so I think the timeline
person.
makes kind of sense.
Maybe.
If he's like about 20-ish.
Yeah. Anyway, this isn't about Star Trek 2.
Anyway, in my headcanon, Stamets was working on Genesis.
That's fair.
And that's how he knew about this planet.
I like
because this would have been the original planned Genesis Phase 2 planet.
And he got there and fucked it all up.
But yeah, like that, like, why even bother introducing the problem if you're gonna just handle it that easily?
Yeah, why not just go to a restock yard? Kind of thing?
What was the point of...
It's time.
Gonna be a perilous journey, never mind we're here. And it's like, oh my god, there's all these Klingons who don't bother attacking. They stop and scan them. It's like, look out the window. It's a Starfleet ship.
Yeah, they should have been ambushed the second they dropped out.
Yeah, like,
I wonder if they were curious, like, wait, that's the Discovery. Didn't we already kill that?
Yeah, but because the other information that we learned in this episode is that the Klingons have completely fractured.
Oh, that's also true.
And so, like... And I'm sure whatever Klingons were hanging out at Starbase 1, were probably just some goofs that, low-ranking guys.
Yeah, I also think you need to go do the spore thing, because otherwise there isn't any action in this episode. It's a lot of individual little scenelets between people, like little one-on-one scenelets between individual characters to kind of like wrap things or set things between them, which a lot of them are good, but like you said, Chris, like they don't really add together to make an episode. And I think that going and seeing the spore thing feels kind of like a culmination, like, oh, a thing is happening.
Yeah, it just feels like there should have been, for it to feel like an episode, That should have been the main focus, and the solution should have been less stupid.
And immediate.
Well, here's what I would have. Here's how I would have probably done it. Is don't even bother with the Starbase 1 stuff. Just be like, Cornwell comes onto the ship. We find out much earlier about this subterranean volcano thing.
Yeah.
And the whole rest of the episode is trying to regenerate the spores. They go straight to Genesis planet and do the terraforming, and like figuring out how to do the terraforming is the actual challenge of the episode. Get rid of all of the Ash Tyler stuff. Ash Tyler should just be in the brig with, like, in another cell from L'Rell, and maybe we see him when Cornwell goes to visit L'Rell, and that's it.
As much as I liked the mess hall scene with when Tilly comes over, because Tilly is better than all of us, then they over-egg it by having everyone come over. It's like, no, stop with Tilly. The rest of everyone else is gonna take more time.
If you want to have that scene, have Tilly visit him in the brig.
That's fine too. Yeah.
And then
But is that Star Trek-y?
No, it's perfectly Star Trek because, like, she's showing compassion because, like, everybody else just is like, fuck this guy, throws him in the brig. Tilly's, like, the one person that's like, I want to see the good in him. I think there's good left. She goes there. She sees him, and at first he's like, why are you even here? You know what I did. And she's like, yeah, but that wasn't you. That was Vogue.
Yeah, but you're hot.
And then she can convince Burnham to go visit him as well.
Jank fixing episodes as he typically does.
You could even, if you wanted to, like, have sort of a midpoint. Like, maybe he's not completely free. Maybe he's not in the brig. Because, well, it wasn't technically... Confine him to quarters, then.
Yeah,
you know?
at the very least.
And, and then you could add the Tilly scene either way.
Yeah, maybe she brings him food from the mess hall to his quarters.
Mm-hmm. And, like, a book or something, because he's stuck in quarters.
Yeah. She brings him...
Gach.
Tale of Two Cities.
Alice in Wonderland.
I was going to say Alice in Wonderland. keeping with the recurring theme.
No. Through the Looking Glass.
Oh, mirror, mirror. Boom. Shakalaka. I love it.
And then he has a crisis.
Man.
I hate it.
You have Tilly go to Ash Tyler's quarters with food and a copy of Alice in Wonderland. And then later in the episode, because Burnham is talking with Sarek, and talking about Amanda and stuff, she starts looking for her copy of Alice in Wonderland. And she's like, Tilly, have you seen my copy of Alice in Wonderland? And she's like, about that.
You're going to have to go see Tyler if you want to see that book again.
She's like, oh, you bitch.
I might have loaned it out to somebody.
I feel like all of that stuff is so stupid, too, where everybody's like, you really need to go talk to him. He, like, really needs you. It's like... The Klingons are about to destroy Starfleet.
Yeah, this is not a priority.
I played one of the Dragon Age games like a million years ago. And in Dragon Age, it's like a BioWare game or whatever, and you like romance people and shit. And so
Are any of them dragons?
None of the people that you can romance. You kill a bunch of dragons. Yeah, it's sad.
I want to romance a dragon.
Can you ride a dragon?
I don't think so.
So the dragons are all evil?
Yeah, I think
Donkey
so.
from Shrek.
I don't want to ride a dragon like that. But anyway, one of the people you can romance is this guy named Alistair, and he's like a prince or whatever. And one time I was in this huge battle in the game, and a fucking NPC thing started happening. There were literally still dudes, like, waving their swords next to us, like, trying to kill us. Well, he's like, I found this rose, and it made me think of you because it's beauty in this desolate place. And I was just like, that's what this feels like.
Bro, not the time.
Not the time. Read the room, Alistair.
He's still going to have PTSD in a month when we figured this out. Deal with him then.
Yeah, well, and the other issue is that I think that Discovery as a show has a bit of an identity crisis because it really, really, really wants to be a character drama, like a soap opera drama about relationships and emotions. And I think that's fine. That's a fine show to exist.
Sure.
But it also wants to be, a story-driven adventure series where, we're dealing with war and we're dealing with problems and Star Trek stuff. And they're trying desperately to jam those together. And I think part of the issue is, like, on a previous show, on an episodic show like Deep Space Nine or TNG or something, you could have both of those things, but they wouldn't conflict directly with each other because you'd have an episode that dealt with the war, and you'd have an episode that dealt with some personal drama,
some baseball game,
or you would have. We often had A and B plots,
yeah.
But they would be isolated from each other. The stuff, like the people that were involved in the emotional character drama B plot would not be the same people that were dealing with the war problem.
Yeah, and ideally they'd reflect somehow and not be jarring.
But
there are episodes where that's jarring.
But having like Burnham, who is directly involved in both pieces of this means that it's really weird when in one scene she's trying to convince Mira Georgiou or whatever to give them the secret sauce to defeating the Klingons, and then she's going to go and have an emotional scene with Voq.
Thing is, like, that could still work because, like, that's just how reality is, you know? Like, you're dealing with a bunch of stuff at once. I just think they don't always succeed. Like, this was an episode where the soapy stuff needed to take a back seat.
But there was all soapy stuff this episode.
Well, and you're
Well,
right.
I think
you're right that in like real life this is a thing, but this is a TV show, and like
no, I know,
you
but
can't
I think,
like frenetically jump from thing to thing.
No, I know, but I think
if you have a spore drop, you can.
It's an admirable idea, I think, but I dig they managed.
No, they
and I don't think
I
they
think
did.
it's
At least
poorly
not,
executed.
Not
it's
in
in
this
fact
episode.
a badmiral idea.
Yeah, like not in this episode. I think generally there's other times where they do a pretty good job of just like trying to have sort of people's personal lives and professional lives blending in a way, for lack of a better term. Like, it can work. I just think this one is just so all over the fucking
Do you
place.
think this season maybe needed a couple extra episodes or something? Because I did say last week that they were highly considering staying longer in the Mirror Universe and then realized we have to wrap this up when we have 2 episodes. Is this too much to wrap up in 2 episodes?
Feels like the end
is.
of Deep Space Nine.
I feel like they got to the point where they had written up to the end of the Mirror Universe arc, and then they're like, okay, well now we got to wrap up the war. We can do that over the next 3 or 4 episodes. And like, oh,
Don't forget Gold Dukat and Fire Caves.
Well, we only have a 15 episode order, and like, fuck.
I don't think they needed more episodes. I think they needed to better utilize this slot and the stupid wisp people plot.
Oh yeah, oh totally.
Not even plot. Like take. I'm not even saying retool them. Just take those 2 slots, throw them out, make better episodes.
Well, here's the thing. I think that the pacing of the season overall was completely borked because they spent the first 10-ish episodes.
Well, the first 2 are on ships we never see.
Ignore those.
Ignore those. So we have 13 episodes.
So the first 2 episodes are the prequel.
The prologue.
The prologue, yeah. And then they spend, let's say they spend 7 or 8 episodes on, like, building up Discovery and like, Ripper and Spore Drive and Lorca and Wisp people. That should have been done in, like, 2 or 3 episodes. Maybe not 2 or 3, but let's say let's shorten it to 4. Let's do a 4-episode arc there. Then let's do a 3-episode arc in the Mirror Universe, and then another 4-episode arc here.
Culminating, yeah.
There is something very wrong with the pacing of a lot of streaming television.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's a problem with so many different studios doing certain projects, and there is a tweet that I see frequently reposted that nails it. Back in the day, if you did a TV show called Surf Dracula, you'd see that fool surfing every week in new adventures. But in the streaming era, the entire first season got to be a long-ass flashback to how he got the surfboard until you finally get to see him surf for 5 minutes in the finale.
Yeah, and then you spend two years waiting for the next season, and by then you've forgotten the whole first season, and you have to re-binge 10 episodes.
You know it's not even, maybe it's a streaming only show, I don't know, but the show that I think of that suffers from that a lot is I can't remember the name of it. The one with Brendan Fraser,
Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol, where it's like so like that show is so fucking plotting. It's a good. I like the show. I like the characters.
The characters are great.
But like that's
it meanders.
That's the surfboard. Like
I love that show, but definitely it's like you're always kind of waiting for something to happen that never really does.
Yeah.
Of course, I also just watched, I finally finished Twin Peaks, and Twin Peaks The Return seems to almost be a parody of that. Like, there's just, it works in a weird way, but it does feel like he's kind of, it's like, are you just falling into the trap, or are you taking the piss? You're David Lynch, so you're fucking weird, so I don't know.
All of the above.
Yeah. Rip David Lynch, by the way.
Yeah. As far as legacy sequels, though, it's definitely way better than a lot of them.
That's good to hear. I never really got into the original, so I didn't bother with the reboot. I did watch the original, but I wasn't one of the Twin Peaks.
You have to find the meaning. What does the log mean?
Don't even think about it is the easiest way to enjoy it.
Like the Mirror Universe.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of which, let's talk about the Hitler in the room.
Oh my god.
So And no, not the one in Washington, the one on the show. That was topical political critique.
Yeah, this will come out in
Unfortunately,
3
it
weeks.
was.
What's going to happen by then?
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
want
my
to know.
God.
For posterity's sake, we are in the we've just tariffed Canada and Mexico to shit phase of this administration. So where will we be when this comes out? Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, I have so many problems. I mean, there's a lot of problems, but I personally have a lot of problems with this whole Giorgio. I mean, I talked about it last week, but I think it's just kicked into another level. So to recap what's happened now, Cornwell, or Sarek evidently, has convinced Cornwell that we need to do a Vulcan goodbye on the Klingons. And yes, Saru should technically be in command because he was the first officer, but he doesn't have what it takes. You need...
He let Ash Tyler walk around.
Like,
He's too nice.
These are desperate times. You need a fucking genocidal maniac at the helm of your ship. So that already is fucked up. And like, I get that what they're trying to do is show like how desperate the Federation has become, and they're like gonna abandon their core ideals to let a maniac do what quote unquote needs to be done.
That scene between Cornwell and Laurel is very telling, and that how what will make the Klingons stop, and she says they won't.
Yeah, you gotta destroy us, like literally wipe us out. And like Cornwell, imagine if instead of Admiral Cornwell that was Captain Picard. He would give a long speech. You say that I do not accept that. That is not who we are.
And Sisko would be like, how can wormhole aliens get involved?
Yeah.
But also,
His goatee thusly.
Push comes to shove. If I can't get them involved, I am down with this destroying your planet idea. I'm sorry.
I can live with it.
Someone destroyed an atmosphere? That's my jam.
Yeah, Cornwell must be an ancestor of Sisko's. Because she is very, very quick to be like, yeah, that's right. We gotta destroy them. But anyway, that beside the point.
Go do some more force
I think
mind melds.
one of the biggest issues I have, and it's totally just hack cheese writing, is you would think. So there's two other than Cornwell and so there's the people on the ship who know about Giorgio are Burnham, Saru,
and
the
that
transporter operator
guy that was sworn to secrecy.
And Cornwell and Sarek. Mm-hmm. 5 people on the ship know about Giorgio.
Does Tyler?
No. Well, he might know that Giorgio exists from the Mirror Universe. I mean, they all know that Emperor Giorgio exists.
Yeah.
But the only ones that know that she's on the ship are those 5.
And the rest should be able to jump to that conclusion when they see her.
Well, right.
True.
So one, who is buying this? Oh,
Detmer is.
Because here's the thing. They all saw everybody who beamed the boarding party from Cornwell's ship. So Giorgio wasn't in the boarding party. Where did she come from? Did she just appear? Was there an off-screen time when somebody else beamed over from that ship, or was she the sole survivor at Starbase 1? Where the fuck did Giorgio? No one's asking how. Okay, I get that you rescued her from the Klingons. That's great. How did she get here?
Trapped in the transport buffer.
Right. And then... Spores. So no one asked that. No one is like, that's mighty convenient that we were just in a place where there was a copy of Giorgio that was alive, and now we're here, and Giorgio's alive? Wow, what a quinky dink.
Yeah.
And then here's the worst. Sorry, Chris. I need to finish the thought. And here's the worst part. Cornwell... Mm-hmm. Just in addition to having this entire stupid harebrained scheme, says, I'm going to do this dramatic reveal on the bridge. I'm not going to tell the 2 other people that'll also be on the bridge and who know that Emperor Giorgio is here. You would think that Cornwell would go to the verse and be like, listen, you're not going to like this.
Don't blow the cover.
You're not going to like this, but we need her because of reasons. So just when I unveil her on the bridge... just know what's going on.
Yeah, Saru is from a species that is not known for its poker face.
Yeah.
In reality, when she walks on, he goes, "Oh, come on!"
Oh, and what a missed opportunity to as soon as she walked on the bridge, his fucking ganglia should have fucking gone fucking erect.
Oh, the biggest they've ever been. They start flashing neon like a sign in Las Vegas.
He suddenly spits acid like a Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, like
we love a Dilophosaurus.
We do.
From like an audience perspective, watching it, because like
that's the thing. They wrote it for the audience, not for what makes sense
well,
in the
and
role.
also,
That's
but
what the
the thing
whole
is, they
show
did a
is.
shit job of writing it for the audience too.
Yeah.
Because a much better way, maybe not much better, but a different way to have done this, because like the audience knows what's going on. There's no surprise.
Yeah, no.
When Giorgio walks on the bridge.
We've seen all the different scenes between Giorgio and insert your favorite character here.
Yeah. Well, here's what you do if you think your audience is smart. And it's not even that smart. You have the scene with Laurel and Cornwell, where Cornwell realizes
Which is like a good scene. All these are like little individual good scenes, and they don't add up. And it pisses me off.
You have the scene where Sarek and Giorgio talk. Then you have when Sarek leaves the ship, he leaves the ship with Giorgio. They say something like, "Oh, we're transferring her to some colony," or we're transferring her to Federation headquarters.
Starbase 1 wasn't an option.
Yeah,
we're bringing her elsewhere.
So like, and then you have a shared goodbye between Burnham, Sarek, and Emperor Giorgio, mirroring the introduction of Burnham to Giorgio from Context is for Kings.
Yeah.
When they first meet on the Shenzhou, because Sarek brings Burnham there, and she meets Captain Giorgio for the first time.
Yeah,
it's a flashback. Remember this?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a goodbye scene. It kind of it rhymes, right?
It's like poetry.
So as far as we the audience know, Giorgio's out of the picture now. And then you have a scene on the bridge near the end of the episode where another starship approaches. A shuttle just dropped out of warp, and they're requesting to beam over somebody. They want somebody to beam over. And everyone on the bridge is like, "Who the fuck is this?" And Cornwell's like, "Yes, this is something I didn't know if we were going to be able to do this, but it's whatever." So Cornwell says something, and they beam on Giorgio.
And then there's a moment of doubt.
And everyone's shocked. Like Burnham's like, "What the fuck? I watched you die." And
they can be like, is it her or is it the one we know about?
And like that's in the episode. The only clue that we get that it's Emperor Giorgio is the fucking ganglia. The ganglia come out, and like Saru is like, huh. And Burnham's like,
and then eye contact with Michael, and finally the two of them are on the same page, which they've never been.
Burnham is like, this is fucking fishy because I did like watch her die, but everybody else on the bridge can be convinced or like can be like, oh my god, that's amazing that she's alive, my fucking captain.
Yeah.
And none of them know that they brought Mira Giorgio on.
No one even knows. Universe. No one even knows that they brought Mira Giorgio on board.
Yeah.
And the ones that do think that she's gone.
Yeah.
And we, the audience, we don't know for sure, but we're pretty sure that it's Emperor Giorgio.
Yeah, and then you've set up a new reveal for your finale.
Yeah, and it's not even a great reveal because it's already pretty much a foregone conclusion. But at least there's like.
But for the characters, it's a reveal.
For the characters, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, dramatic irony when written well can work. Like even if we as the audience are in on it, but. Yeah. But this is unnecessary.
This reveal just seemed like unnecessarily dramatic and stupid.
There's only one episode left this season. There will be no long-term anything because of this.
Would you prefer she be on that little rotating toy outside of the Kmart and do that little reveal again?
They install a new captain's chair with a really high back, and it's facing the back of the bridge, and then it turns around slowly.
I've got a stupid fan wank version that is still better.
Go.
They said we need an experienced captain, and they beam over George Kirk Sr. as played by Jeffrey Combs.
What the fuck is wrong with Chris?
Oh, that fixes my problem that I have
Caitlin
with Discovery
was moaning
as well.
that we never get Jeffrey Combs.
We have 5 seasons of this piece of shit show, and we don't have Jeffrey Combs. Not once. Nobody calls Jeffrey Jones. Jeffrey Combs? What the fuck? No, oh god, not Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, don't call Jeffrey Combs.
No.
Yeah.
Unless you're calling him to be like, ew, gross, you're a pedophile.
I will say the various scenes mostly where I hated the little breakup scene. It just
the Michael Ash scene.
Yeah, like I don't know what that was, what it wanted to be. I was like on no one's side in it.
I know when they just start kind of yelling at each other. It's like this
is weird.
This went into a weird place.
Well, and also, like, everyone really expects Michael to be okay with this, and she goes to him and she's like, I had your hand around my neck. And it's like, okay, so literally none of you should be pushing this issue.
Yeah,
like,
it's just-
if Michael doesn't want to fucking hang out, like, yes, it's very sad that not Ash Tyler might be having a bad day, but, like, Michael Burnham literally has more trauma about this.
They both need
And
to
the-
recover separately for a while before they try to reconnect.
I mean,
For
honestly,
real.
don't fucking have them reconnect like this. Like that's
Yeah, well, don't-
that's a friendship ender right
yeah,
there.
don't if the two of them decide on their own, like,
yeah, that's
let's
a season
try
2.
this.
He swoops in from some other place, from doing some other adventure, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember you.
yeah, or something. It's just so weird. I don't know what the point was. It's very uncomfortable and not in like a good way. And in a way I don't think the writers intended.
I mean, here's the thing. So Vogue is effectively dead, right?
Yeah.
Like as far as we know.
Right. As far as we know, again being the
Like,
key. 'Cause,
Morrell erased him. But Ash Tyler is still, evidently, physically the same entity that was Vogue.
yeah.
Even though it was Voke's body, and they only like USB ported in
Yeah.
his brain.
10%
memories.
Vogue.
Yeah. They broke his bones and chopped up his heart, and when you think that's the worst part, they take your second hog.
Oh. Like, I could see somewhere where this being useful for, like, creating peace with the Klingons. It's
Yeah.
like, we have your guy. We, like...
None of them care though.
Like,
That's true. They
But
don't.
also, they don't have their guy.
Well, but here's the thing, right? Because they kind of set it up in the Mirror Universe because
Yeah.
Mirror Vogue was
the
the
leader,
leader
yeah.
of the Resistance. And, like, he was a unifier.
yeah, but everyone like pitched his ass the moment Cole came in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess this is a place where the Mirror Universe and Prime Universe didn't align, is everyone hated Vogue.
Yeah, that's true.
Except
Laurel.
Tukuvma and Laurel. Like, everyone else was, even
Well-
on his ship, they were like, that fucking asshole.
Yeah.
It's like, only Tukuvma saw anything in him, and then Laurel saw
Yeah, which
something
kind
in
of
him.
means that, like, Mirror Vogue being a unifier was kind of a waste. It should have been, you know what, instead of Vogue, it should have just been Laurel as the leader. of
They
the
just
Klingon
really
resistance.
wanted to get their use out of that $10 million or whatever 300 people made it costume of Vokes.
Yeah.
They had to get one more good one in to justify the
Justify
cost.
using this thing. Yeah, the whole Vogue plot at this point now, which for a little while was kind of interesting, with like, oh, what's going to happen with this spy thing, and then it just ends, and now we're left cleaning up aftermath, which isn't interesting.
And again, it's just, the placement of it is awkward.
The placement is awkward.
Like, there's just, I think, again, there's just too much happening at once, because it does feel like they realized they're running out of time. You know, like, trim the Mirror Universe from 4 episodes to 2 or 3, and make better use of this and the other bad episode.
Yeah, that one could have been combined with Into the Forest I Go.
Oh, definitely.
That could have been
definitely.
squished together.
Okay, but where are we going to shove in the B plot about finding out what kind of cake Ash Tyler likes?
Next season.
Okay, what did you guys think then of the exchange with Stamets?
Oh, between Tyler and
Stamets
I
when
thought
they
it
meet
was
in the hall.
horrible. I thought it was horrible.
I did love the line, maybe you're still human after all. Glare. Walk
Yeah, no,
away.
I didn't mind that one. I
think that's
felt
what I
like-
noticed. Like, oh, thank God, this is better written than that other episode. And that's where I started like noticing, like, okay, the dialogue is not shit.
I just don't think it should have ever happened. I think it should have if it was going to happen, if there was going to be some kind of reconciliation, it should have happened on Stamets' terms, like Burnham.
And then you have two different identical confrontations.
I know, Bill. I don't think that either should have
I
happened
think
this
the thing is-
episode.
I don't even think he
You
was...
have one episode left, and it's the finale, and there's no room.
Yeah,
Well, you don't need. So honestly, I mean, I don't honestly remember what happens in season 2, but I'm assuming that Ash Tyler isn't a continued presence on the ship after this. Like, I don't remember.
I'm not going to spoil season 2.
I remember, so I shall not say.
But assuming he isn't, and at this point in the writing, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that he would be. But assuming he's not a continued presence on the ship, he doesn't need to reconcile with Stamets or with Burnham, honestly.
I think, I mean, for me, it was, I don't even necessarily looking for Stamets. Caught myself that time. Because Stamets, like, walking out of a room and they both look kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, of the two scenes, I would rather have the one with Stamets than the one with Michael. And I feel like, like, Stamets' anger was justified. I think it's good, from a storytelling perspective insofar that, like, he wasn't even really conscious for Hugh's death, so having him have a moment here, it's like, okay, yeah, this works. Like, it didn't bother me.
I mean, honestly, I think they killed the wrong personality. I think they should have killed Ash Tyler and left Vogue.
And then punished Vogue.
And then punished Vogue.
Mm.
And then,
Well, then we wouldn't have to have all these fucking heart-to-hearts.
No shit!
Yeah.
That would have been nice.
No
I mean,
more
I guess, like, we still could have had something between Vogue and Stamets. Because Stamets could, like, visit him in the brig and, like, spit in his face and be like, you motherfucker. But then we wouldn't need that Michael fucking Ash shit. Because it's like, oh no, Ash is gone. And I feel it's so complicated because he did try to kill me, but I did love him.
It's just like, this show just constantly wants me to like villains. It wants me to like Mira Georgiou. I don't. It wants me to like Ash Tyler. I don't.
Well, Ash,
I don't dislike Ash Tyler.
Well,
the thing is, Ash is a whole different thing. He is a sleeper agent.
But he's also a real person. Like, they took some real person's personality and shoved it into Vogue's
and think about
destroyed
it
weird
like
body.
this, right? So the real IRL Ash Tyler
Dead.
Oh yeah,
dead is so,
Probably
so,
eaten.
so presumably somebody has to go to Ash Tyler's family and say, it is with great, regret that we inform you that your son, brother, whatever,
uncle
has died in the line of duty. But there's another version of him that's still alive.
But he's real broken, guys.
He's real fucked up. He might look and act and have some memories of your Ash, but otherwise... and also he killed a guy, broke his neck, and he's a Klingon Manchurian candidate. So you have that to live with and know exists for the rest of your lives.
I don't know if I'm making this up or maybe it's something that happens in season 2. I mean, I feel like they hand wave like, oh yeah, I think he's an orphan or something.
Yeah.
To try to like.
No one will miss him.
I might be making that up, or it might be something that happened in season 2 and I'm jumping the gun. I don't know.
I don't.
He did say he wanted to go back to somewhere on Earth and go trout fishing.
Well, orphans can trout fish.
Can they?
That's how
No
bears,
one's there to show them
that's
how
what
to.
bears do.
No one's
Or
there to
bears
show them
like
how to
salmon.
put the bait on the hook. Playing catch with himself.
I wonder that if we didn't have anywhere in this season a confrontation between Michael and Ash, if it would feel like something was missing. Because it's never acknowledged. Because they were they were people who were in love, who were very important to each other. She spaced his ass, and then they never speak again. Like that, I feel people would be like, "Where's the scene
And
we need?"
maybe the same could be said of Stamets as well, because the unresolved issue of Culber's death. But I don't know. It just feels like so much to squeeze into this episode.
I think you need to acknowledge it. Whether or not they need to have a scene, like, the scene, quote unquote, could have been like, someone's like, you gotta talk to him. She's like, no, fuck him, and here's why. And someone else was like, dude, can't make her.
Well, also, it's not even just that we get the scene. We have, at least 2 scenes of people being like, you should really talk to him. Because first it's Saru, and then it's Tilly, right? Does anybody else tell her that she should really talk to him?
No one else talks to Michael.
I mean, one of the themes of this show, and especially this season, is like
healing.
Healing and like how things get broken, like how war breaks you, and Tyler is like is a tragic, like Vogue / Tyler, both of them honestly are like hugely tragic. So I think having them resolve their damage, really, or if not resolve it, at least like confront it.
Yeah,
like it does seem appropriate for the themes of the show, but I just feel like it's a lot for this episode.
Yeah, there's just too much happening right now.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to bring this up earlier, but we got all off course. Was my thing too with this whole like Georgiou thing is like now again we are just doing the whole, Lorca showing up with Prime Michael pretending she's Mirror Michael, and also it's kind of like doing the same thing we already did in a subtler way with Lorca.
Yeah.
Where it's like we were turning a blind eye to the fact that this guy was going against our beliefs.
It's not blind, they're just overly sensitive to light.
Hey,
Because,
good
like,
one.
we are not doing well, and we're gonna sort of look away and be questionable of what our normal morality is. So they've already done that.
But did you see what was left of Starbase 1 and how sad Cornwell was? She was so sad.
But it's like, I'm not saying they shouldn't be sad and shouldn't be looking for a plan, but this plan has... They already did this arc in this season. We don't need a one-episode version of it. Find a new way to do the same, to wrap things up.
Nope, sorry. One-trick ponies. We can't just fire phasers at the dilithium crystals to recharge them every episode, so we have to instead sneak somebody in from the mirror universe.
I even like the idea of, like, you know, we gotta jump into the guts of Kronos, which is kind of fun as an idea.
That was a technobabble scene that I thought was actually not boring. When they were like, here's Kronos, we're going to jump in here. And I'm like, I'm following technobabble for a change.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the better done instances of that.
It wasn't a constantly spinning camera.
Yeah.
A balloon and too much air and something bad happens.
Also, yeah, speaking of the eyes thing, I just wanted to bring this up, that they seem to have dropped that as like a thing, the eyes sensitivity, because shouldn't Giorgio also be...
Maybe she's got special contacts.
Maybe they should just have her walk in with sunglasses on.
So cool, I gotta wear shades.
I mean, the thing is, even with Lorca and them, it was only when there was a sudden bright flash.
I felt like he was constantly zapping his eyes with the...
No, it was usually just before, like, you know, when they were about to blow something up, he did it once.
Well, I hope they at least show it happening with Giorgio. Otherwise, I will be like, oh, you only... I mean, I know they only did it so that they could have...
Yeah.
Later, it was important for revealing Lorca.
You remind me of something. Sarek, like, cool at Sarek. He's like, well, you know, my Michael saw through Lorca. It's like, at the absolute last second, buddy. Like, calm down.
Yeah, all through that whole scene, he's like, I want to mind meld Mirror Giorgio so bad. I want to see.
What a creep.
I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, he's already force mind melded Saru this
that
episode.
But also, why wouldn't you force mind meld Giorgio? She's like the one person that we really should be force mind melding, because she's the one who, like, potentially could have some really horrible, like, you know, hidden motive.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna meld somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really. You've got this fucking genocidal maniac.
Yeah, just make her captain. Give her the most powerful ship in the fleet. No problem.
Well, before even that, though, it's like they've got her confined to quarters. So, like, yes, of course, if we're doing tiers of punishment, I guess, yeah, we'll let Tyler walk around with a fancy watch.
Oh, I like that they answered a question that I had last week, which is, did they repaint the ship? They did not. They repainted it this episode.
Which, again, like, now?
Yeah.
This is
Hey,
when you're stopping
war
to
with
fix
the Klingons
the
is-
livery?
We could be attacked any second. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, well,
in the merry old land of Oz.
Well, it seems like something that's like maybe when they were doing the VFX, they were like, oh, you know what? We never actually fixed, you know, like
So they just run it in reverse to fix it, to redo it. They're like, we're not paying for this again.
It was like that, you know, shit. We get kind of an unresolved thing here because we painted the ship differently. We painted it ISS, but now we want it to be USS, and we never addressed it anywhere in the scripts, so we're just going to show a shot of it being repainted.
But you know what, though? That having it marked wrong like that explains part of why they got such an aggressive, like, welcome from the...
No, they
from
repainted
Starfleet,
it before the welcome.
Oh,
so,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then that's stupid.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, at least they didn't repaint it when they knew the... Well, no, they did already know. I don't know.
No, it's
Whatever.
dumb. It's again, poor placement. And
I was sad that they destroyed the fortune cookies, because I would have eaten them.
yeah, that was... I mean, it wasn't the fortune cookies' fault it was fake Lorca.
No, they're still delicious cookies.
Well,
yeah. But,
I mean, they might be filled with bad
Well, because here's the
fortunes.
other thing you have to realize, right? So they were having that conversation where she vaporized the cookies in, like, the briefing room, not in the ready room, which is where the bowl of cookies live.
no,
Does
he
it
just
bring
has
it with
cookies
them?
everywhere.
So she took the bowl from the ready room to the briefing room just so she could dramatically vaporize it.
No,
Oh, wait
I'm
a minute,
telling
wait a
you, he
minute.
just got them every single... The bridge has one built into his chair. He just pushes a button and it's like...
Give
you
me a
can
nerd
accidentally jettison Finney or have a fortune cookie.
Yeah. Canon issue. We know that when you vaporize a serving container, the stuff inside doesn't get vaporized.
That's true. The mashed potatoes.
Star Trek 6.
Oh, Star Trek.
So
6.
it should have been the
Holy
bowl
shit.
should have dissolved and the cookies just sort of scattered.
It's different.
Son
And then
of
the
a
fortunes are
bitch.
still remaining.
But here's
of
the
course.
thing, though, like that's really an inconsistency in Star Trek 6 because when you
Yeah.
shoot somebody with a phaser, their clothes don't get vaporized. They're
That's
just
true.
naked afterwards.
That's true. That's what it should be. Every phaser set on kill should be like Kivas Fajo's nudity gun.
Yeah.
Why is there a
Ew.
nudity gun?
Ew.
Hold on. Oh no, it's not a gun. He has like some sort of acid that's eating Data's clothes, isn't it?
Yeah, one other canon thing. So, they state, like, okay, ISS Discovery was destroyed, sad face. The second everyone realizes what's going on, Cornwell's like, everyone, we are classifying all this information immediately. None of you know about this. Forget it right now. Which is why in Mirror Mirror, they kind of expect, okay, I understand this is a different universe, but they don't know about this particular universe. And yet, in DS9's crossover, Bashir's all like, I learned about this in school.
Well, see, that I think probably because
Mirror.
for whatever reason, they didn't classify it after Kirk went.
Yeah.
Oh, that's possible.
I don't know why. Maybe Kirk blabbed before they could
here's
classify it.
Like the thing about the Enterprise under Kirk is like a legendary ship in the future, right? So that all those missions are probably
And actually, I guess the other issue is they actually traded people. So they knew, they even said right away, oh yeah, no, your counterparts immediately gave themselves away. So it wasn't like one transporter guy they could threaten. Yeah. It was like 400 people or 200, depending on the episode.
Cat was out of the bag.
Yeah, it was just like, well...
Spot?
Yeah.
What a
I know you're trying to
what a
segue.
good segue
but-
that would be.
What else do you have, Jake?
I had another thought about.
Oh, no, our perfect segue.
I don't think we've seen that briefing room before with the tables with the screens.
Maybe once early on, I don't remember.
Well, I was wondering if maybe that was actually supposed to be on Cornwell's ship.
I've got to be honest. All the different rooms on these ships look exactly the same.
Well, this one was
I
it was
can't
like
tell
a
them
big
apart.
round table with chairs, and I don't think
I
we've seen it
believe
before.
Did you say there were tons of screens? Maybe Lorca never went there because the screens were too bright.
Yeah, but he had a bowl of unwrapped cookies in there, so they would have been really stale.
I was gonna say that's why she really destroyed them because she knew they were
These cookies.
stale. She was like,
Yeah,
I've been hurt too many times by Dragon Garden.
That I will say is the most disappointing thing when you get Chinese food. Is if you get to the
Stale
cookie and
cookie.
it's stale, you're just like, oh no.
You dirty dog me. Yeah,
for
just speaking of dirty
Speaking
dogs.
of dirty dogs, hey!
So we still have a perfect
segue is saved.
So we've run out of Enterprise characters,
Thank
or
God.
have we? Because really, there aren't that many Enterprise characters.
I don't even remember who we talked about the last 2 weeks. I feel like
What
did we do the last 2 weeks?
That's
Nothing.
a good question.
How do we not have a week dedicated to fucking McKinnon or whatever his name was?
Who?
The guy they introduced at the absolute last minute to be kind of a dick.
Massaro.
We could have
Massaro.
we could have done the head Mako.
Oh, that guy, Hayes.
He was good for like
He
3
was
episodes.
in
He was
two
in 3, yeah.
episodes.
He was in fewer episodes.
More episodes than Mayweather.
True.
Hey.
Anyway,
Hey.
actual thing.
So what we're going to do today is, as an excuse to highlight Porthos, we're also going to highlight Spot, because we really should have highlighted Spot.
Yeah.
So like we did with our Ro Laren versus Tasha Yar face-off, we're having a cat and dog show, I suppose. Cat show and dog
Cats and
show.
dogs living together.
Living together.
Mass hysteria.
So we're talking Spot and Porthos today, and this means that we have another one of our patented big boards.
Ooh, a board.
So we've got the big board, and we're going to fill in for various categories that I've only a little bit kind of lopsided towards one particular character and not the other.
Would you say dogging categories?
It's...
So I will
Great.
do my level best to put my natural pro-cat biases aside. I'm really not a dog person, by and large, but I will try to be fair.
But Porthos is a good boy.
Oh, he is. He definitely has the advantage of being, most of the time, foreshadowing, a beagle, which is a lovely little thing.
What do you
They
mean
are very loud.
most of the time.
Mirror Universe.
I don't remember what happens to him in the
He's
mirror
a- he's
universe.
a-
That's,
like a
that's one of our
Yeah.
categories. We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
totally don't even remember him being there. What is he, like a Doberman?
We're going to get there and later on the board.
Yeah, but it's way down here.
We'll get there.
God damn it.
All right.
Fine.
Anyway,
Anyway, our first category we're going to talk about Spot and Porthos is their relationship with their master. So Spot's master is Data, Porthos obviously is Archer. What are some instances we see of our friends with their master?
When Data is handing Spot to Mr. Worf.
Is there one, am I making this up or possibly thinking of Bob's Burgers? But is there one where, Data's trying to keep him from knocking shit off his desk, or is that just something I imagined?
That is something you mentioned, but I'm going to bring
Damn
that
it.
up later.
Oh, okay.
Also, I mean, it's probably more meaningful for Data than it was for Spot, but the scene where Data finds Spot.
It's a good scene.
That's one that I was thinking about.
Generations
Yeah, I love that
after
scene.
the crash. And I mean, the thing is, it's not the same. It's a different Spot. Like we're considering Spot as being one cat, but
Yeah.
throughout the series and the movies, there's multiple Spots, and it can't even be argued that it's like, oh no, they just got a different cat actor, but they look completely different, and one of them at least is female.
Yeah, like you said
various
that.
transporter accidents.
I mean, yeah, I think, like, you know, cats are not like some animals which can be very hard to sex. You know.
No, cats are, especially once they're fixed or when they're very young, it's very hard to tell.
But it's also
Spot is an adult.
It's the 24th century. They got the woodly-woo.
Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying that, like, cats actually are a little tricky if they've
I've
been
never
neutered.
had trouble.
I have previously talked about my hypothesis that Data just Lenny's all the Spots.
I don't like this hypothesis.
I know. Like,
Put generations on the board, Jake.
Okay.
I do like the idea that maybe he doesn't quite get that you don't name your new pet exactly what you named the previous one. Or it's kind of like Lisa and the multiple snowballs, but he just doesn't bother saying the number out loud every time. Because I think in the black snowball is he Snowball 2 or Snowball 3?
We Snowball 2 we start with, but Snowball 3 we eventually meet, but we said, well, we're going to keep calling you Snowball 2, so we have to change the food bowl.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. We're actually, at some point, we are on Spot 2, and he just doesn't say the 2. Because, yeah, the Spot does change gender, which is, everything else aside, the most obvious, like, hold on.
Yeah, I feel like most of the things I can think about in terms of relationship are really the relationship from the master to the animal.
Yeah.
Which is fine, which is
Yeah.
worth bringing up.
Well, that's
so
also that's cats. I feel like cats and dogs, like, as someone who has owned both, like, the way that they interact is totally different. Like, a dog, when you come home, if you've been gone 5 minutes or 5 hours, they're going to lose their fucking mind, like they haven't seen you in years, and, like, you've just returned from the great beyond. And cats are going to, you know, trick you into petting their belly and bite you. But, like, ultimately, you know, if they love and trust you, they'll sleep near you, and they'll, like, rub their face against your face.
You have
and
to
shit.
work for it.
Yeah,
Dogs are sluts.
they sure are.
And again, I guess from Data's perspective, you know, when he is putting Spot into Worf's care, does he think he's about to go get disassembled or whatever? Is it that episode?
I don't remember.
Either way, he might not be coming back. And he's like, you know, tell him he's a good cat and a pretty cat.
I will feed him.
Yes.
I thought that was just when he was leaving. When he did expect to come back, and he was just giving.
Chris is going to look it up.
Yeah.
Well, Chris is looking it up.
Yes.
What about Porthos? So Porthos and Archer. Porthos and Archer is like the relationship that works on Enterprise.
I mean, again, though, it's like all I can think of is, you know, Archer caring for Porthos, like when he spent the night with him in sickbay.
Yeah. Put
Making
that on
sure
the
he
board.
gets cheese.
But again, like
Write cheese down.
yes. Well, that's probably covered under eating habits. Number 8.
Damn. Fine, don't write down cheese.
Oh, wow. It's a much later episode than I thought.
So what episode is it?
Phantasms, which is season 7 of episode 6.
Episode 6 of season 7 or episode 7 of season 6?
Episode 7 of season 6.
Okay.
And that's when Data is having dreams and shit, right?
Yeah.
Does he think he's going to be, like, knocked out by his dreams?
I don't really
I
know.
forget what happened.
I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
think. I think
remember
he was
either.
just giving. I think wasn't the issue that he was like just needed Worf to look after Spot for a little while.
Is this when he went down to that planet or whatever to find his head?
No.
No.
That's my least
Times Arrow.
favorite
And
and
that-
favorite
and
episodes.
that planet is
Oh, right.
called Earth.
Oh.
Data willingly puts himself under guard in his quarters, fearing what harm he might do to others, and places his pet cat
Yeah,
Spot
that's
in the
right.
care of a
That
reluctant
makes
and
sense.
seemingly allergic Mr. Worf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, he's going away for a while.
Yeah, he just needs somebody to feed the cat.
Yeah, Porthos, I would say, is, you know, despite the writer's attempts to say that John and
I got one.
Trip are friends, I would say by the end, Porthos is Archer's only friend. Like, I feel like they've
And
even
even
stopped trying to make...
Porthos is leery.
Yeah, I actually had like a legit question. I don't know if we ever brought this up. So, it's clear, like, we can question, like, is it a good idea to bring the dog on these exploration things in the first place? And by the time we're gonna enter the Delphic Expanse, we stop off at home to get a tune-up. Why did we still bring the dog to an expanse where we expect to die?
Yeah,
Phlox insisted on it.
Well,
Like,
I think Archer wouldn't want to not have Porthos.
So Archer is bringing Porthos as his emotional support.
Well,
animal.
but also, like, if he does he want to abandon Porthos in a kennel or something?
You could have had a really nice scene where he leaves Porthos in the care of Admiral
Hernandez. Dad.
Or Janeway's great.
Yes. But, like, I think that could have been good, because, again, we know his relationship with that Admiral, not Black.
Forrest.
Admiral Forrest, yeah, they clearly, like, this was Admiral Surrogate Dad. It could have been a nice scene.
Okay, but here's the thing. From listening to a lot of true crime, we know that it is a thing that certain men think that their families cannot go on without them, and that's why they wind up killing them. So when things go bad for them, so perhaps John was like, I'm going to spare him the pain of losing me because no one else can care for him like I can, and I'm going to risk his life along with mine because I'm a narcissist fuck.
Yeah, I just remember there was a line in the Zindi that I found that, it's like, oh, we'll be the first humans in the Delphic Expanse. And Trip's like, oh, yeah, and the first Beagle, too. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, why would they bring Porthos? Put the Zindi on the board.
Show me
But
Zindi.
this is a bad thing.
It doesn't
It's
matter. It doesn't say
part of relationship with Master. Archer drags Porthos.
No, but
Archer, once again, is a selfish piece of shit.
Yeah, and of course, having Spot on board isn't weird, because that fucking ship has whole families for some stupid, mind-bogglingly stupid
That is really
reason.
crazy. Like,
It's insane.
Imagine, like, because it's like the equivalent of, like, taking your wife and kids on every fighter jet flight that you go on instead of leaving them at base. It's
Like,
crazy.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it, but it's like, we get that, yes, ostensibly you're not a military-first organization, but you get attacked all the time. And also, space itself is just dangerous.
Well, here's the thing. I think that this is not the time to litigate this, but I think that the Enterprise
Isn't it, though?
is designed for long-term deep space exploration.
That's true.
So, and like the Galaxy class in general. And so I think that the idea is, we're going to go out. We're going to spend like years in deep space.
That's true.
But at the time we're on the E, which is a war vessel, we don't see Spot ever again.
Yeah, no families and no cats. Yeah. Anyway,
No,
number 2.
So Jake put Ode to Spot up with relationship to Master too. Did you want to say anything about that?
It's another example of they're having a good Data caring a lot about Spot. He writes Ode to Spot, which is a lovely poem.
I think, don't we actually see Spot at the ass end of Nemesis? Isn't B4 petting him or something? Or am I making that up?
Oh, you might be right.
Yeah, it's like Spot 10, though.
And also...
Yeah, and that's probably on the Enterprise. I didn't think of that.
So he at least, or she, is still puttering around. Or we're on against Spot 10, whoever.
Who do you think wins relationship with Master?
Spot.
Spot?
I think, though, that's more my anti-Archer bias. It's not even cat bias.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is relationships with other humans. So we know we have relationships with our Master.
Wow, how human-centric of you.
Well,
what about Mr. Worf and Spot?
Oh, you're right. With other...
He was raised by
sentient
humans.
beings.
There we go.
with other people.
We see him interact with...
He
Worf and I
scratches
think
the shit.
Geordi.
Well, and we know that he caused a grievous injury to Riker at one point when Riker was feeding him.
Put that on
We
the
like
board.
that.
Forgot about that.
And you know why? Because Riker tried to feed him that fucking omelet he made. Spot was like,
I know, Porthos would
son
glom
of a
that
bitch.
down.
That's true, especially if there was just a little cheese.
Ooh, cheese
Too
omelet?
late. Worf's eaten all of it.
Yeah, so Spot scratches Riker, we know.
He also
boy.
scratches Worf
Scratches Worf?
in that, right? Doesn't he?
I don't remember.
Well, I know Worf promises to feed the cat.
Yes.
I forget if we see anything else. Well,
I will feed him.
I know he holds him awkwardly in his fucking
Yeah.
arms.
Well,
like
okay,
Yeah.
so
I
maybe
feel
not
so bad
scratch,
for that
but,
cat.
Okay, maybe not scratch since we don't have evidence, but let's say he did.
yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's been mentioned.
Oh yeah, everyone on the ship like says like Data Spot is the only one. Or you're the only one who Spot likes, except there is an exception. Spot gets along with Barclay.
You want me to write that down?
Write that down too.
That's why he has cats later.
Yeah, we learn at some point that when Barclay was cat sitting for Spot, they got along.
I can't help but wonder if broccoli. If
I think I spelled broccoli
I think
wrong.
you did.
I think it's
but
2 C's and 1
I
L.
always make that mistake until I see it. I never remember.
2 C's, 1 L. I put 1 C, 2 L's.
That's all right.
That's okay. You can correct it for the blog.
I'm not convinced that Spot doesn't bite Worf's toes in the middle of the night and he doesn't just kick him through a wall. Because we know that he accidentally murdered a child playing football.
Maybe Worf is the reason why there's a new
really,
Spot.
he's the one that keeps
No.
lennying Spot. Damn it.
Cats would actually like. I don't know if Klingons would like cats, but cats would love Klingons because to rub against that head.
Oh, yeah.
They love it.
They love texture.
Yeah, they'd be like. It's like.
They'd be rubbing.
Stop it.
Spot be rubbing his whole body on his head, including his butt.
Please stop, Mr. Fluffykins. I'm trying to be serious right now.
Anyone else we can think of Spot
You are
interacting
without
with?
honor.
Like I said, he must interact with Geordi because Geordi's in Data's room all the fucking time, but I don't remember anything specific.
I don't think anything specific comes of that. I think
Yeah.
they think they just know each other.
Yeah.
Porthos knows everybody though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Friend to
particularly Phlox, though. I feel like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Porthos and Phlox. they're
Phlox
buddies.
is-
Phlox have
Phlox
a
is
special
nice.
relationship.
Which is
Phlox was going to give him cheese when
Archer.
Left.
Yeah. Phlox comes to learn because I remember I was griping in A Night in Sick Bay.
Yeah.
That he's like, why would you put so much compassion and care into this non-sentient animal? Blah blah blah. I'm Phlox, and let's genocide it instead. But I think by the end, like Phlox will care for Porthos and be good to Porthos.
Yeah. Well, I think having a non-sapient creature as his patient must help change his
I'm just
perspective.
going to write likes everybody. 'Cause
I think there's a good
He's a
example.
you have a good example?
I have another good example I wanted to bring up for Porthos. The last thing Sim does before like going and getting himself surgery is he visits Porthos.
Oh,
And I love it.
I imagine, I think they even mentioned that, not only do humans stink to Vulcans, but I can't imagine what Porthos must have been like for Port-to-Paul.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
boy.
first time I rewatched this scene when I was grabbing a shot of Mayweather the other week. The first scene when DePaul walks in, there's a dog. She does a snippy face.
All right, so
I bet
think-
she finds it.
So is Porthos the winner of this category?
Oh, definitely. I think Porthos has got to be the winner.
Because Spot
of that,
does
right?
seem
Yeah.
like kind of a bitch to people. So
Yeah, he only likes Data and broccoli.
All right, number
But
3.
guys, she finds it appalling.
Number 3 is responses to threats.
Oh yes. So here's where we're gonna see like, okay, can these animals jump in the when you're in need?
No.
And the answer is no, kind of for both of them. Although
Yeah, I can't think of-
I do think Spot scratching Riker proves that Spot can take care of herself.
Fair.
So Scratch
Should
Riker
I
might
move,
be
should I move this down to like
might-
No,
halfway
wait.
between the two?
just write it again.
No. All right.
Yeah, missed opportunity to have guard dog Porthos.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. Poor buddy. In fact, not only is Porthos not a good guard dog, he will piss on a tree and make everything worse.
That comes
That's
later.
later.
That comes later.
Son of a bitch! Where? Here?
Advancing the plot.
Obedience, advancing the plot. It'll come up.
Well,
It'll come up
obedience is
multiple times.
fine. Peeing on a tree is okay unless it's a sacred tree.
Yeah, so I think I griped a lot during Enterprise whenever Porthos was supposed to say, like, there's a cloaked Suliban in the room, and Porthos just kind of wags tail, and you're like, Porthos, no!
I had a dog like that growing up.
Okay.
That would have been great if there was a scene where he just kind of perks up and was like, and even just sniffing, and Archer goes, What's wrong, boy?
What's up, boy?"
Timmy down the well? Or, get him a little
I
flight
should
cap, and he
say,
goes, fights the Red Baron.
Doesn't respond to cloaked Suliban. Also, I remembered that when the Ferengi have boarded the ship in Acquisition, they just pick Porthos up and put him in a crate.
That's right.
And Porthos does nothing.
What happened when the Ferengi took over the Enterprise D in Munchkins or whatever the fuck it was called?
Rascals?
Rascals, there we go.
Munchkins. What was that episode? The Lollipop Guild? What was that one called?
The way Jake phrased this on the board is that Porthos
He
needs
needs
threat
threat
ganglia.
ganglia.
That's good.
Beautiful.
One
Yeah.
time that Porthos does bark like appropriately at a threat is when the jizz alien from Vox Sola is creeping around and Porthos barks at it.
Oh, him do a bork.
So that Bork pushes him over the edge to, I guess, winning round 3.
You guys agree?
Are you gonna write down Bork?
Bork?
Please.
Write down Bork.
I don't
Bork.
have, Bork?
B-O-R-K.
B-O-R-K.
Yeah, but why
Put
would
an umlaut on the O
I
if
don't
you
know.
want.
I think Spot should win
You think Spot should win? Tell me why you think Spot should win responses to threats.
because he scratches people like scratching is an actual.
Yeah, but that's just a cat. Cats are just. I mean, listen. I think Spot win. I think not Spot. I think Porthos wins by virtue of Bork.
Why are we calling it Bork?
Because it's fun to say.
All right,
Bork.
fine. I won't argue. We'll go with Porthos.
Bork.
Animal relationships.
Yeah, our next
Spot bangs
category.
Spot bangs somebody and gets
Spot
Praegers.
got down. So we know Spot gets along with another cat at least.
How I don't. First of
In
all,
Generations, Spot
Okay.
has kittens.
well, that's why I don't
Genesis.
remember because it's bullshit. Oh, also bullshit. Here's
Oh
the-
yeah, it was in Genesis. You're right.
I bet Spot has relationships with the kittens.
So so you're counting that as 2 events?
It's 2 different relationships.
Yeah, two. It's a Mr. Cat and
Didn't
babies.
wait, hold on.
We never see the kittens
Spot,
again.
Actually, when we did see them, Spot had completely abandoned them because Spot was an iguana at the time.
But it's a relationship.
But
Is that true?
because Spot had the kittens were fine and they were starving.
Is that true? Did Spot really become an iguana and not take care of her kittens?
Yeah, it was. That's how they. Well, we'll get to that because that's going to come up later.
Yeah.
Oh wait, you said that was Genesis. That's
Yes.
the one. Wait, no, is that the one where everybody changes?
Yes.
Barkley becomes a spider.
Yes.
Okay.
So Porthos, we know, is too much of a coward to make a move on the alien dog that woman has on
Rilo.
3 days and 2
Yeah.
nights.
2 days and 2 nights.
2 days and whatever.
But was he
Porthos is a
was,
fridge.
Was he friends with the dog?
They did not like each other. They barked at each other.
Did they? I forgot
They
that.
did.
I was just being a jerk, but okay.
What kind of dog was that?
A Chinese crested.
Is that
Thank
the
you.
one that always wins the world's ugliest dog?
Frequently, yes.
I think they're cute.
And it was not an alien dog. I refuse to believe it. It was an Earth dog that is. I've told this before because everyone's like, "Oh, it's an alien dog." No, it's an Earth dog, and it's just an export. From
Yeah,
Earth.
no, that makes a lot more sense.
But wait, how did they get an Earth
We
dog?
talked about this.
Because breeders on Earth sell them to aliens through traders.
Yeah. Do we see Porthos with any other animals aside from that?
Not that
Does
I
he
can
interact?
think of.
Does he bark at that bat thing that gets loose in the thing, or is he not
I
around
don't think
for
he's in
that?
sick bay for that. And when he is in sick bay, he's mostly unconscious. So
Poor
Yeah.
Bubby.
All right, let's give this one
It's
to
mostly
Spot.
a puppet.
yeah.
Spot's kittens get the points.
All
Good
right.
job, kittens.
All right, number 5, obedience.
None from Spot because he's
Yeah.
a cat.
Yeah.
Obedience not found.
Yeah, obedience. This is the up is bad, down is yes. How did that quote go?
I think that's it.
Up, down is good, up is bad.
Peas on tree.
Porthos does pee on tree.
Peas on tree sounds like a town on the ocean in England. You know.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
it
the
does.
tree is a river.
Yeah. Even though I think mostly Archer is to blame for the
Yeah,
peeing
Archer,
on tree,
yeah.
it's still something to discuss
Um,
about. Something that Porthos did.
Well, and if we blame the behavior of children on their parents. So if
Oh, absolutely.
Porthos
Oh,
is being a
actually-
naughty boy and peeing on trees.
I have one here I want to mention.
For Spot? No
Yeah.
shit.
I've got the quote. Spot. This is down. Down is good. This is up. Up is no.
Up is no. What episode is that from?
It does not say.
Oh, son of a bitch.
It's like a Reddit post. Maybe if I click into it, it'll...
Oh.
Oh!
Whoop.
Oh no, that's... I have no idea.
Okay.
Um,
So
believe it
Spot be
was-
getting on counters, apparently.
Yeah, well,
They're-
Spot, I believe in, I want to say a fistful of Datas or something. I think, it might not be that one. One of them. Data is trying to obedience train Spot, and Jordy's like, that is not going to work.
yeah, no, it's a cat.
What are you doing?
Yeah, by default, Porthos wins because Porthos is a dog. You can actually train a dog.
Yeah, at the very
Let's give
least,
it to Porthos.
at the very least, we see Porthos doing things when Archer tells.
He does mostly behave. And he gets cheese more than he should, but again, that's on John.
And he does bork that one time, but it was a good bork.
Bark, bark, bark.
All right, number 6.
Oh.
Advancing the plot. Well, I'm going to bring up something we've already talked about in the Genesis.
Yep.
Where Spot is the reason why they figured
That's a
out
good
what was
one.
going on. Because they saw that Spot had transformed into an
Iguana.
iguana, but the kittens hadn't. So that's how
Yeah.
they figured out that the amniotic fluid or whatever was causing an immunity.
And they're like, let's experiment on Ogawa's unborn child.
It's fucked up.
But the question though is if the babies had become iguanas, also would Spot have then taken
and then
care
I'm
of
also
them?
going to bring up Night in
good
Sick
question.
Bay for this one, since it was literally the entire impetus for the episode.
Yeah, it caused
That's
an
a good
intergalactic
one.
incident.
I have another good one for Porthos, though, guys.
Well,
Oh.
also peeing on the tree.
Well, peeing on the tree does advance the plot. That's true. But the time that Porthos or Porthos's presence does help an awful lot is in Chosen Realm, when the way that Archer is able to get information to Phlox is a coded message that says, "Do not feed him cheese,"
Right.
which is a sneaky.
Oh, so you want to say Chosen Realm?
Chosen Realm. I don't know when else Spot really advanced the plot.
Well, you mentioned, I don't know if you actually spoke it out loud, but Jake mentioned that Spot frequently escapes on the Obedience. Does that ever lead to anything happening of interest?
she gets knocked up.
Mess with that as the pregnancy.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, actually,
Which is also Genesis.
Oh.
in some episode, don't remember which one, they realize something is wrong because Data's Ode to Spot poem keeps leaking into things. Am I right? Did that happen?
Leaking into things.
Yes. I think you're right. But I don't remember.
'Cause that's the one
I don't
where he's
remember.
dreaming.
Details.
Chris is gonna look it up.
Arguably, though, Spot advances the plot just by existing because Data's plot is always becoming more human, and what's more human than having a cat?
Yeah. It's in Fistful of Datas, it leaks into the computer.
Okay, yeah.
But is that Spot advancing the plot? Or
I'm
just,
gonna. If I'm
we're
giving Chosen Realm to Porthos, I want to
All
give
right.
Schism or a Fistful of Datas to
Okay.
Spot. Why can't I highlight them?
This one's trickier because there's kind of an equal amount of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and both
Should they be tied?
Is Fistful got 2 L's or 1 L?
One.
and they're both kind of consequential. I'm gonna give it to Genesis because I fucking hate Night in Sick Bay. Because
Yeah.
John's just being a whiny little bitch.
So who gets it?
Spot. We're gonna give it to Spot. So now we're tied after 6 rounds.
Wow. And we only have 10 categories.
Yeah, I was gonna say this could be bad because we
Cat-
have
wait,
because
Caitlin made this
dog
Inspirational
in categories.
quotes. Bork, meow.
Yeah.
Well, no, inspirational quotes was where I'm going to bring up Ode to Spot.
Oh,
And
Fair.
it's an
okay.
inspirational quote about Spot.
Okay.
Does John make any big speeches about the importance of Porthos?
That's cute.
Thank you.
He
In
does get all
in
pissy
Sick Bay?
in Night in Sick Bay.
But he doesn't ever make a man's best friend. Blah 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 blah
He
blah.
probably does at some point.
Yeah, the one I was thinking of to tell you guys about Porthos, because so many of these categories are because I looked them up on Memory Alpha and said, oh, good, something I can say about them,
Yay!
is in Strange New World, Trip gets to coin where no dog has gone before.
Aw.
I'll mention it.
Trip can do no
So
wrong.
you're lucky Trip said it, because that way I will suffer it.
But either way, I think the Ode to Spot is perfect.
Oh, it's so good.
I don't think.
We have
I
the
don't think
Hallmark
Porthos.
ornament of it.
Yeah.
Porthos didn't stand a chance in this category.
No, he didn't get any cool stuff written about him by John, because John's a bad writer.
He's illiterate.
Although we do know is it 2009 that Scotty says, oh, he's prized beagle. So apparently through the generations, they know about the archers and beagles.
True.
Okay. Eating habits. Cheese.
Cheese for Spot. Actually, Spot might like cheese.
No. He
Cheese
likes
for pork.
feline supplement,
Yeah, I'm saying-
whatever.
Yeah, I think this one goes to Porthos.
Porthos also ate leeches with Phlox. Is that points off?
No.
Because
for
Phlox
leeches?
fed the dog leeches.
Well, as long as he never fed the dog toenails, I think we're okay.
He might have. I
'Cause we-
wouldn't put it past him.
Because, I mean, even
It's
you
so
know...
fucking gross.
We don't
Phlox
know-
is disgusting. Why do people like Phlox?
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like feline supplement 315 alpha or whatever just doesn't hold a candle to cheese.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like cheese is plus 10, leeches is minus 5, feline supplement is a 0. Maybe a 1. You know what I mean?
Hades likes cheese.
And who doesn't like cheese? I mean, Hades is
love
such a good
cheese.
boy. Me
Barnabas usually just knocks it around. I don't think
All right,
he
we're
eats
giving
it.
this one to Porthos.
too. Leeches and cheese.
Oh boy, we're still
Brought
tied
to you
after
by
8.
the people
Leeches
who
and
made
cheese, a lot of the
Kibbles
same
and
letters.
Bits.
All right, appearance
Yeah. How about
Dreams. Well, we see
Captain Spot!
Captain Spot in Data's dream in your Birthright.
Birthright.
Does Porthos appear at all in a Hoshi's transporter hallucination?
Not that I'm aware of.
But she does mention that he's a terrible prankster. Nice, got him.
Porthos, always committing pranks.
Guys, I have a bad feeling that this is gonna wind up as a tie, but I actually
might.
kind of like that.
I love that.
Because, like,
They're both good
again,
boys.
I've owned both dogs and cats. I currently have several dogs and several cats in my life, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Does
just fine.
Porthos show up in any dreams?
Porthos shows up in A Night in Sickbay when Archer is having a nightmare that Porthos dies.
Right.
Oh my god!
That's depressing.
We see Porthos' gravestone.
Oh no. It's like a
Here
Christmas
lies
Carol.
a good boy.
And just a pile of cheese on top.
John's like, oh, it could be anyone's grave. And the ghost of Christmas Future is just pointing.
Could be anyone's grave and fucking ghost trip head pokes out. You fucker. I died for you for some reason.
Captain.
For some reason.
All right.
Captain!
Yeah, that's really sad. But I mean, honestly, that speaks so highly to like how, like, who hasn't had a dream that like someone that they like love so much deceases? That's just that goes on to relationship with master,
That's
in my
true.
opinion. I mean, we can't really go back because we've already called the category, but
I'm going with Spot because
Captain
the
Spot.
Porthos one is sad.
Yeah, and Captain Spot is badass.
All right.
and that way Porthos
My
can-
cat is here.
All right. Last category we have is I can't read it.
Other
Oh wait, no,
versions.
it's right here. I was looking at the number.
That's 10.
10.
Does Iguana Spot count?
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
technically the same Spot.
But it's another version of Spot.
And there's
There.
also 20 versions of
Yeah,
it.
so there
Which
might
spot
be.
is it?
We're
Well,
on
it's girl spot.
We're on at least Spot 2, if not more.
Spot's already been a Somali cat at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah, multiple breeds. All right, for Spot.
In a way, it's almost... Now, hear me out. I almost feel like you can't even call this just Spot. I feel like it's one dog against several cats.
Well, we know that there's also at least 2 dog actors that play.
True.
Three.
Breezy
And a puppet.
and-
Prada
Oh yeah,
Right.
and a terrible
Wendy.
puppet in
Right.
Night in Sick Bay.
and the
I
puppet.
don't know, it wasn't
Too
bad.
bad.
It looked pretty.
But yes,
gnarly.
Porthos, Mirror
Could
Porthos.
have been worse. They could have
All
tried
right,
to
was
CG
yeah,
that
what kind
shit.
of dog was he? He's like a
A Rottie.
Doberman,
Oh, I
Rottweiler.
love
yeah.
a Rottweiler. I saw a Rottweiler
So
puppy the other
beautiful.
day and I was dying. I was like, I just want to eat
Pupper.
you up. And the dog was like, feelings mutual. Just give me a while.
No, they're good puppers.
I
Puppies
don't know how
are
to
good,
spell
good
Rottweiler. I took
nibbles.
a guess.
That's close. 2 T's. I think otherwise you're right.
All right, Rottweiler. Are there any other versions of Porthos?
I don't think so. You guys think so?
No, I think it's just Mirror Porthos.
Man, so who wins this? Because this
Oh,
I mean-
it's Porthos. Porthos wins. He's 2 beautiful dogs. Beagles are wonderful, sweet little
Yeah.
lovey-doveys.
Rottweilers are gorgeous too.
I love Rottweilers, and I can guarantee,
And a cat turning-
guarantee you he's obedient.
And a cat turning into a lizard is just
silly. It was a
Disappointing.
silly. It was a silly.
that whole
dumb
episode is a mess.
If they were, if Spot were de-evolving, she would have turned into like a wholly different creature. But they
Yeah.
didn't want to make a puppet or anything.
Do we-
saber-toothed
do we want to
tiger.
give category 10 to
Barkley.
Porthos?
Turned into a spider. Like there was just no
All
sense.
right. So right now, after 10 rounds,
10 rounds.
we are tied. Now we could call it there and say that they're both good
Shootout.
boys, and I'm happy to say that, and I'm happy to go with that. But on our board, we do have an 11th row where
That's
we
left over from the yard
well,
row
but
one.
can I propose a tiebreak category? Namesake.
Oh my god!
Porthos is named after a member of the Three Musketeers.
The shitty one.
The shitty one, but still.
No, he's not the shitty one.
I've never read. I'm joking.
He's kind of
He is
he's a
He is a
gluttonous
slut.
slut. Yeah, he's a gluttonous whore. So
Spot is named after a dog's name because
true.
Data just heard that pets
Are
can be
named
named
Spot.
Spot.
it could have been worse. It could have been Fido.
How did
you
this
know?
never come up before? Spot is usually like what you call a dog.
Yeah, it's a dog. It's a dog with like a spot.
I always thought it was the
Yeah.
elephant.
Like
in the
it's a
room.
name for a beagle.
Yeah.
And
So
considering,
Spot is named after a beagle.
Spot started off as a Somali, which is a mostly just ruddy colored cat.
Oh yeah, I think it was always kind of tongue in cheek that he was called Spot, and none of the cats were spotted.
yeah.
I don't know
That's
about that,
true.
but I mean, it's definitely meant to be like a goof on Data, like just not
Not
understanding
understanding
the
how to
naming
name
convention
pets.
of
So-
pets.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So for me
That's
anyway,
subtle, I
I'm
like it.
giving the tiebreak on namesake to Porthos because I think he's got a more thoughtful name. Although, I guess Spot is more of a silly and whimsical name, so...
Spot is a name that's perfectly in character for Data.
That's true.
For Data's pet.
So what you're saying is we have another tie.
Well, do we
because
think
they both
do we think that Data, like, because the fact that he's called Porthos, that doesn't really make much, like, plot sense,
I don't know,
does
he's
it?
gluttonous of cheese.
Well,
Porthos does
would be
love
gluttonous.
cheese.
And he is a slut, as we talked about, because he's a dog, and dogs love everybody. And Porthos is a slut.
So I don't know.
Porthos
So
just eats and fucks. That's his
do we
whole
have
thing.
a tie break, or are we still tied after
feel like
11?
let's leave him tied.
Yeah.
I like the tie.
I love it's tied.
And I think people who feel strongly about cats and people who feel strongly about dogs will be happy.
And meanwhile, Spock is upset that there isn't a salad on this list.
And that he's not being compared to Porthos. Spock's like, I would have won that hands down, Captain.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. We have a tie between Spot and Porthos. They are both good animals.
Very good voice.
Spot sometimes a boy, sometimes not, and Porthos, well, always a boy on screen, but played by a girl dog. So they are gender bending as well.
Well, then not male on screen, because that's like the only way you can tell about dogs. Really, if they've been deballed, they have a penis. That's it.
Well, anyway, yeah. Next week we will be talking about the finale of Star Trek Discovery Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. In the episode, Will You Take My Hand? ? So that will be what we talk about next week, and I'm sure we'll also be doing a little season wrap action, talking about our impressions of this for this first season of Discovery. So tune in next time for all that. Until then, you can catch up on our backlog of episodes by finding us on SoundCloud, as well as wherever fine podcasts are sold, such as YouTube, iTunes,
Are we on Spotify?
Spotify,
Yes.
I think we are. Yeah, Spotify. But you'll find us online.
You found us this time.
You found us this time. You'll find us again. You can also catch up with us and read our blog, which is on Tumblr, sshbpodcast.tumblr.com. You can also just go to sshbpodcast.com as you like, if you like the brevity. You can find us on Facebook, Blue Sky.
Yeah, join us on the Blue Sky. We're having a lot of fun on the Blue Sky.
Yeah, a lot of fun. We're posting shit, sharing stuff.
I gotta start having more fun on Blue
So
Sky.
yeah, if you found us through Blue Sky, make sure to follow us there as well. And we're not on Twitter because Bash the Fash. Emperor Giorgio would definitely be on Twitter though, right?
Oh, yeah.
She'd have the
probably-
blue check.
No,
She
fuck
owns
that.
Twitter.
She'd be on Truth Social.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I
No.
said it.
Well, anyway, until then, my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
Bye.
Bye.
Meow. Bork.
Bork.
Meow.
Fuck. Why? Why would you marry Worf? Them dicks, I know.